Real, it's Keely and I'm back for another video. This is going to be my August TBR. It is July 27th and I've taken a break from YouTube. I have been filming a vlog. I don't know when that's going to come out or what that's going to look like because it's kind of just like snippets of random days. But I wanted to come back to BookTube. I've been watching some people lately that have really been making me want to come back, and I figured that I would. So let's start with a little life update here at the beginning and then we'll move into the books. I got laid off at the beginning of June, which wasn't entirely unexpected, but still shitty and not something that I would really recommend ever experiencing if you can avoid it. It definitely sucks. It's obviously not your decision most of the time unless you choose the voluntary layoff thing. Got laid off, had a pretty downward spiral mentally after that happened, even though I was like emotionally prepared for the possibility of it happening. Once it happened, I went into that phase of like, well, why did I get laid off and not this person? And why did I get laid off with this group of people? And they must have looked at my performance and my value as a human and must have decided that I don't have value, and all those wonderful things that your brain tells you when you get laid off. And that sucked. So it has been over a month. We're going on almost 2 months of being laid off. It's been an interesting time. I would say overall I'm doing relatively okay with it. Looking for a job, potentially have a new one lined up soon. But you know, as my brain works on how the days go, I'm one of those people that is looking for all of the ways that things are going to fall apart and get worse. So we'll see what happens. I will keep you updated if you care. I care, obviously. Other than that, I have been running and watching a lot of British Bake Off for the billionth time, watching a lot of specific YouTubers, just trying to be very like cozy and homebody, even more so than normal. I spend a lot of time reading. I spent so much time playing video games. Right now, my main video game again is Dead by Daylight. I'm trying to P100 Leon Kennedy because my husband and I played through Resident Evil 4 together, which was lovely. It's my favorite Resident Evil in all of them, and when Code Veronica, the remake, comes out, we're gonna play that together. Also put a ton of hours into Fields of Mystria and a bunch of other games. But I'm back on my Dead by Daylight kick for right now, which typically happens. I have been reading a decent amount and I have finished I think 6 or 7 books since I disappeared for a little bit, and the main thing I wanted to show you guys because it made me laugh and it made my husband and my sister laugh. So I am finishing up my reading journal. This one goes from September to September. It's not dated, but I bought this and started it in September of last year. So I'm going to try to keep it for an entire year. I think I have enough blank pages in it to get me through. But I have been reading the Horus Heresy series, which is Warhammer, and I use Lisa Frank stickers to color in. So like if you know anything about Warhammer, it's very like masculine, it's soldiers, it's wartime, it's space flight and space battles and stuff, and I decided to make it kind of ridiculous by putting stickers. So up here I have like Friends Forever, and then I have one down here that says Cutie next to book 5, which I read, which is all about the Primarch Fulgrim. And if you know anything about the Primarch Fulgrim, he is obsessed with vanity and how he looks, so I thought putting the Cutie sticker next to him would be fun. And then for the Flight of the Eisenstein, which was book 4, I put Little Goddess because I love Garrow, so I put him there. I am currently reading book 7, which is Legion. If you care at all about the Horus Heresy series, I don't claim to understand the universe enough to be able to really explain it to you, but my understanding of at least the book series is there's at least, I think, 54 books that have been categorized as falling within kind of the Horus Heresy timeline and story, and if you read the first 5, that's what everyone on Reddit says that you should do, and then from there pick characters and storylines that you like. So I read the first 5, and then I decided to skip book 6 because that's about a Primarch and like a little different section that I didn't entirely care about. But book 7 picks up with the Alpha Legion and takes place at the same time as some of the stuff from the first books. So if you cared at all, that's what I've been doing. I'm firmly in my Warhammer era, which I did not anticipate, and my therapist thinks it's very silly. And I also agree with her, it's very silly, but I've been loving it. So I have been reading that. Okay, sorry about that. Got an alert on my phone that there was a man at my front door, and I don't like anything about that. It turns out he was just dropping something off. Anyway, what was I talking about? Warhammer. Yeah, I've been reading a lot of Warhammer and then reading some other things. Another thing that's been new in my life, I'm out of breath because I just ran up and down the stairs. Another thing that's been new is, as of yesterday, I went and I ran into Marshall's. I had to pick up dinner and I ran into Marshall's and I just grabbed this cute little day planner. It's just like a little blank 2026, 2027 day planner. And at the beginning of it, I won't show you my actual page, but it has this, if you can see that, layout for each month. And what I am going to use this for is a symptom tracker. My therapist and various doctors over the years have recommended that I use an app or something to track symptoms for different things. Well, lately I've been feeling physically unwell. And so even my husband was like, maybe you should start writing down like your symptoms for different days and just like take that to the doctor and be like, hey bro, is this normal for my chronic symptoms or my chronic illness? So I got that. And you'll see as I share with the books that are kind of on my radar right now, the ones that I'm reading, why that's also at the forefront of my brain. But I think that's kind of it in terms of like where I've been, what I've been doing, been cooking, been baking, spending a lot of time outside with my husband, going to parks, reading outside, really enjoying that, spending time with friends. It's been great. So let's get into reading. I'm reading a lot of books right now. I don't necessarily keep my story graph super updated with all the books I'm reading at one time. I did before, and then it was stressing me out. So I am really now only keeping my story graph updated for when I finish a book or like the Warhammer books, so I can keep track of what number in the series because there's so many. So for Warhammer, I'm on book 7 of the Horus Heresy series. And then for other books, let's talk through them. I'm reading a handful right now. So one that I'm reading is A Disability History of the United States. I'm using a pen as a bookmark. This one is by Kim E. Nielsen, and this one is a short but really condensed version of looking at disability and law in the United States. And it's been really interesting so far. I'm really not that far in. I'm still only in the introduction because I was reading it the other day while I was waiting for cookies to finish baking. But yeah, I'm going to be writing all over this one. So this is one that I am reading. Another one that I'm reading, for hardbacks, I always take the cover off so that I don't scrunch it up, even though I literally just did. But this one is the Anti-Ableist Manifesto, Smashing Stereotypes, Forging Change, and Building a Disability Inclusive World by Tiffany Yu, who is the founder of Diversability, which I think is a nonprofit. And you can see I am pretty far into this one. Tiffany Yu was in a bad car accident as a kid and developed a disability, and this is a kind of how-to guide on combating ableism in particularly the United States, because that's where she lives and that's where this takes place. But it's like part memoir, part life experience of having a disability and working in disability advocacy and just how to not be bad about it, with like conversation starter questions, suggestions for things you can do. I need to get my tabs out. I'm so happy I have so many book tabby things. Get my tabs out and go through and tab off all the things that I have been writing in here or, you know, underlining. Really been reading a lot of myself in some of this stuff, so it's been an emotional journey, but I am really enjoying this one, so hoping to finish this one up over the next few days. The history book will take me longer just because it will take longer. Another one that I have been reading that I've also been taking my time with is this one, which is About Us. This is essays from the disability series of the New York Times, and I got this one last year and I am pretty far through it. I'm up to page 163, and I don't know if you can really see that because they're not super bright, but I have all of these tabs here for things that I'm underlining. Again, seeing a lot of myself. A lot of these essays are from authors that have multiple disabilities, but the ones that I'm really writing a lot in and underlining are the mental health ones, and it's just been really emotional as I'm reading these, and literally the next one is about panic attacks, and so I've just been, underlining. And at some point, we'll share some of the things I've underlined with my husband when I'm ready to have a bigger conversation about it. But it's a lot to take in. And so I am having to take my time with it. And then another one that I started, I haven't picked up in a few days because I've been reading those other ones, is this one, which is Enforcing Normalcy by Disability, Deafness, and the Body by Leonard J. Davis. This is one that came out in the 90s, and so the language is pretty dated, but this one is, from what I can tell from what the book says, one of kind of the first books that came out like really calling into question a lot of the ways that we talk about disability and the different theories of disability in the United States. At least I think so. That's kind of how it's marketed, but I'm still trying to do more research on disability history and make sure that I am getting a range of published works that have to do with disability and disability history. Hopefully, knocking on all the wood, fingers crossed, all of those things, this new role that I am in the process of onboarding for will work out, and I'll get to do that, this new role, and a lot of that is going to be kind of accessibility advocacy and things that are really important to me that I've been learning a lot about and working on for the last year and a half. So fingers crossed. And then in terms of other books that I have started, it's been a handful, y'all. I keep starting and stopping things, just kind of however I feel like it. So one that I did start reading and writing on is The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. This is the 75th anniversary edition. This is a collection of, I think, 4 short stories, the first one being The Bloody Chamber, which I have read. And Angela Carter was known for writing kind of fairy tale-esque type weird stories, and this is the only other book that I have from her. I read the Something Toy Shop last year. I thought it was so weird. Had a really good time with it. But now I am reading this one, which I think, at least in those circles that I am part of, this has been the most popular of her works. But I know that there's lots of other ones. Like there's I think there's like the Fairy Tales of Angela Carter collection that I'd like to get, but I'm trying to read the books from the authors that I already own before I get others. It doesn't always work, but working on that one. I am also reading a biography of Geoffrey Chaucer by Marion Turner. I listened to a podcast where they talked about Geoffrey Chaucer, and it was really fascinating, so I immediately bought the book from one of the podcast hosts, Marion Turner, who is a historian that obviously focused a lot on Chaucer. And I'm up to chapter 3, and I've been having a really good time with it. This one is kind of a different biography, and then in that she is focusing on the locations and kind of the society areas that Chaucer inhabited throughout his life. So it talks a lot at the beginning about kind of the house and how the idea of the home kind of changed over time, given when he was born in the 1340s, and then different, areas of the world that he lived in, and kind of reframing his life from the perspective of those locations. And so it's been really fascinating so far. I am really enjoying it. So I'm going to continue with this. And going with that one is this one that I've had on my shelf for a couple years. This one is If Walls Could Talk by Lucy Worsley, An Intimate History of the Home. And I have one tab here already because the very first chapter she's talking about a history of the bed, and she references Chaucer. So that's why I decided to pick this one up. I am not far into that one at all. It's been a little while since I picked it up. And the final one that I have that I started is this one, which I started yesterday. This is Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Sadawi, and this is translated from the Arabic by Jonathan Wright. Ahmed Sadawi is an Iraqi novelist, poet, screenwriter, and documentary filmmaker. And this one came out a while ago, and I've heard really, really good things about it. And it says, from the rubble-strewn streets of U.S.-occupied Baghdad, Hadi, a scavenger and an oddball fixture at a local cafe, collects human body parts and stitches them together to create a corpse. His goal, he claims, is for the government to recognize the parts as people and to give them proper burial. But when the corpse goes missing, a wave of eerie murders sweeps the city. Hadi soon realizes he's created a monster, one that needs human flesh to survive. First from the guilty, and then from anyone in its path. With white-knuckle horror and black humor, Frankenstein in Baghdad captures the surreal reality of contemporary Iraq. Yeah, I've just heard really, really great things, and it's been on my Frankenstein shelves for years, and lately I've just been wanting to pick it up, so I did. Let's show you all of the other books that are on my radar. I would love to get to these by the fall, but y'all, this is a lot of books and I'm just not reading terribly fast, so we'll see what I can get through, because I'm also taking a lot of like online training courses and stuff. So I have one here that just got delivered, so I figured I would open it for y'all. I hate these kind of boxes. Oh. We have Being Human by Judith Heumann with Kristen Joyner. This is an unrepentant memoir of a disability rights activist. I had a library copy of this one earlier this year, but I am really enjoying the process of writing all over my books right now, so I wanted to get my own copy so that I can write all over it and not destroy a library copy. Judy Heumann, she was a disability rights activist, and I see her name pop up in a lot of the stuff that I've been reading. And she got polio at 18 months, which then led to her being paralyzed. She won a lawsuit against the New York City school system for denying her a teacher's license because of her paralysis, and she became the first wheelchair user to receive a teacher's license, I think, ever? Or is it just in New York? I'm not sure. And then she was involved in creating the Americans with Disabilities Act. And yeah, I'm just very, very interested to learn more about disability history in the United States and read memoirs. So that's why I got that one. Then I had to pick up this one, which is Owning It, Our Disabled Childhoods in Our Own Words, edited by Jen Campbell, James and Lucy Catchpole, illustrated by Sophie Kamlish. I have a handful of Jen Campbell books, absolutely love her. She is a poet and an author and a book reviewer. She's got a YouTube channel, and she talked about this collection as they were creating it, and it's just writing from, I think, 22 disabled authors with true stories about memories from when they were kids living with disabilities and their experience. So I'm very excited for this one. Then we have Disability Intimacy, Essays on Love, Care, and Desire, edited by Alice Wong. I read Disability Visibility a few years ago and absolutely loved it. I'm currently reading Alice Wong's memoir, Year of the Tiger, and this was the only one that I didn't have. So when I saw it at the bookstore, I grabbed a copy, and I am very interested to get to this one, and I think it's going to be amazing. Then I have another slightly academic-y kind of book. This one is The Future is Disabled: Prophecies, Love Notes, and Mourning Songs. I read an article from her, which I will link down below, but this one says, what if in the near future the majority of people will be disabled, and that's not a bad thing? And so I'm just really interested in reading more from this author, having read that journal, or having read that, I don't know if it was like a blog post or a featured essay, but it was really good. So yeah, excited to learn more and read more from this author. And then I think this is the only other nonfiction, is a queer memoir. This one is Hijab Butch Blues by Lamia H, which is it's a coming of age memoir by a queer hijabi Muslim immigrant who, by interpreting stories from the Quran, finds the strength, purpose, and self-acceptance to finally build the life she wants. And I've heard really, really good things about this one, and I've had it on my shelf since last year, so I really want to pick that one up. Now let's get into some of the fantasy, sci-fi, horror-esque books that I grabbed. I recently passed a certification exam that I had been working on for over a year. I had been taking this online course and finally completed all the coursework, which took a long time, and then I took the practice exam, which took me 6 tries to get an 85. Finally did it. I kept getting like 82, 83, 84, 82, and finally passed it, and then was able to take the final exam and pass the final exam the first time. So to celebrate, my husband took me book shopping, and I only grabbed this one, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. This one is Startup Hell by Caitlin Rozakis. This one is about Morgan, who is an entry-level sales person at a tech startup, and I think her boss summons a demon to meet like quarterly goals or something, and then she has to live with the demon or something. I don't know. It sounds amazing. I've read one other book from this author, Dreadful, which was super duper cute and fun. fun. That one is another like quirky fantasy about an evil wizard that ends up getting memory loss, and he can't remember why he's an evil wizard. He doesn't remember kidnapping a princess. He doesn't know why people are scared of him, and he doesn't want to be evil. And so you kind of follow him as he's trying to like get the goblins that work for him, that are terrified of him, to tell him what his name is without letting them know that he doesn't know what his name is. It was so fun. I really enjoyed it. So I'm very much looking forward to reading more from this author. I know she has one more book out, but it's about like a school PTA and stuff, and I wasn't terribly interested in that, so that's why I grabbed the Startup Hell one. One that I think is going to be a lot of fun that won't take me that long to get through is this one, which is Rom-Com by Olivia Dade. And this one, there's a zombie outbreak and two neighbors team up, and it turns out that one of them is a vampire. And I bought this on Indie Bookstore Day. And yeah, I just think it's going to be a lot of fun to read, so I'm excited to get to this one. Then we have another romance. This one is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young, author of Next of Kin, which I have not read. This one is about Wynn, who has limb difference and hooks up with someone at a costume party, and I've just heard really, really great things about it, so that's why I want to read that one. Then, given kind of the stress of life lately, I feel like I owe it to myself to read from one of my favorite authors. So how many times am I going to have this book on a TBR before I finally get to it? This one is 5 Ways to Forgiveness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I have not read anything from Ursula K. Le Guin in a couple years, and she's one of my favorite authors of all time. I've read so many of her books, and this is, I think, one of 2 unread books that I have of hers on my shelf that I really need to get to. This takes place in the Hamish cycle. I've read a handful of books from the Hamish cycle, so I really want to get to her work again. She writes she wrote kind of science fiction, philosophical type works. Like if you took a philosophy or ethics course in college, you may have encountered some of her work. And then she also wrote a middle grade series, The Books of Earthsea, which I have read the first book of, but haven't continued on. Then we have this one, The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I've read a couple books by Joe Abercrombie, but this one sounded like one I'd be most interested in, and I did just see pop up that the second book has been announced and is coming out soon. I'm not sure when, but I do really want to read this one. And this one is about a holy city, and there's a bunch of murderers practicing magic, and I've heard that it's really good, so I would really, really like to get to this one. Then we have a horror that my husband picked out for me. This one is American Rapture by CJ Lead. I don't think I've read anything from this author, but this one says, a virus is spreading, creating a violent horde feral with lust. Sophie, a good Catholic girl, must traverse the hellscape of the Midwest to try to find her family while the world around her burns. Along the way, she discovers there are far worse fates than dying a virgin. The bookstore where I found this one had a couple different CJ Lead books in it, and I handed them to my husband. I was like, pick one. So he read the back and thought this one sounded silly, and so that's why I got it. Then we have one that I've had on my shelf for years. This is a proof copy, and this book came out in September of 2022. But I'm very much in a sci-fi mood right now, so I figured it would be the perfect time to read some Neon Yang. This one is The Genesis of Misery, and it is a Joan of Arc inspired space opera. I don't know why it's taken me so long to pick this one up. I have the thank you card from Tor still in this one, and yeah, I've just never picked it up. I do have, did they write the Tensor series? Is that what it's called? The Black Tides of Heaven and all of that? I think so. I read the first one of that, and I do have a bind up of those. So I do want to read from Neon Yang because it's been a while and I do really like their writing. Then we've got just a couple more here. So we have one that my husband got me for Christmas. This one is The Ministry of Time by Kayleen Bradley. And this one is, I think, a sci-fi, like with a twist or something. I'm not entirely sure what this one is about. I know I've seen people talk about it, but I haven't remembered what they said. And I've seen very mixed things. Either people love this book or they really didn't get the hype. So I'm excited to get to this one. I think I am going to enjoy it. Then we have this one that I'm super excited to get to because I know book 2 is coming out soon. This one is Half City by Kate Golden, and this one I've been told is like a Buffy feeling book. Now, I've only seen some episodes of Buffy. I really don't have full Buffy lore in my head, but enough to kind of enjoy the idea of a book giving Buffy vibes. And this one is about a school and a demon hunter. And I think this one's gonna be a lot of fun. I've heard really good things. And then the final one that I have to show you is this one, For Human Use by Sarah G. Pierce. I've seen a lot of people haul this one, but I haven't seen anyone yet say if they liked it or not. So this one is about a dating app for dead bodies. And that's why I bought it, because I think it sounds wild. And so I am really excited to finally get to this one and hope that I enjoy it. I'm also kind of really interested in reading a chunkier book from my shelves. So I will report back and let you guys know. Now, I am kind of bouncing around. I am a mood reader, so anything that I say I'm going to read, don't count on it, because my mood will probably change. But I am really trying to read books that I own, given financial changes, trying to not spend money on extraneous things, with the caveat that books are one of my biggest hobbies, and so if they bring me joy, I'm going to buy the books that I want to read. Yeah, trying not to buy a lot of books, and this is like my favorite time of year because Halloween shopping has already started. At the end of Memorial Day, all of the stores not all of the stores, a lot of the stores start putting out Halloween stuff. And I know if you're not a Halloween fan or don't live the spooky lifestyle, people are like, why are you doing this? Let the goths live, okay? We appreciate the spooky stuff that comes out early, and I have only purchased one thing so far this year. I'll just go get it. So far this year, I've only bought one spooky thing, and it is a throw blanket. We are a house of throw blankets, and if you have a small dog, you understand. But it's this really cool, it's super fuzzy, like brown vintage looking, but not at all vintage, spooky blanket that we will have out year round, because that's what we do. We have a mixture of Halloween and Christmas blankets on our couch. I absolutely love this. And when I brought it home, I got it at the Marshalls, the same place that I got the day planner. And also I got a little tiny toy for my dog because it was her 10th birthday the other week. But when I brought it home, my husband was like, you got another throw blanket? And then I showed it to him and he was like, oh shit, that's actually really cool. And I was like, ha, I knew it. That is it. I just wanted to say hi. I am here. I am watching videos. Let me finish out this video and clean up all of these books. And then my husband should be home from work relatively soon. And we might go to the gym if my stomach can stop being queasy. But I just want to say hi, miss you guys, hope you're all doing well. Let me know what you guys are reading, or what stuff you're watching, what games you're playing, what things are you enjoying right now. I'm seeing a lot of videos and a lot of stuff coming out, and I'm constantly like, I don't want this, of things. It's like, you're doing this wrong, and you're doing this, and you're doing this, but you should be doing this. I'm like, can everyone just shut up and let people live their lives how they want? Like, can we just try that for like a week? Can everyone just try and shut the fuck up and let people live how they want to live? Maybe? I don't know. But I hope y'all are doing okay and taking care of yourself, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.